There is power in the name of Jesus. Whew, that is good. My name is Arlene, and I am a Christian in recovery from drugs and alcohol and codependency and smoking. Hello. I just love when you say hi to me because I can feel the love. You say it again. See, there's just something about being in a room full of people who know that they're here because they're not all there, that it just makes me happy. You know, it just makes me happy. I can be myself, and you understand. You get me. You know what I mean? You get me. You get me because you have the same sort of peculiar mental twists that I have. We are in recovery together. Yay! Say yeah. All right. So if you're new here, chances are that you're here because you're not all there too. I hate to tell you this, that's the bad news. But the good news is you get to be welcomed into this crazy family of recovering people. And I just know you're going to fit in. I know. See, I like to say that we are a bunch of mixed nuts, but we taste good together. And speaking of being in the family, I do hope that all of you here tonight will be, everybody got, I hope, an invitation? Say yeah. Great. I hope that you can come to the Celebrate Recovery Family Gathering. We're going to eat together. We're going to play together. We're going to do some family recovery business together. And it's going to be at my house on Sunday, October the 22nd. Not this coming Sunday coming up, but the Sunday after that. And it's going to be around about 1:30 p.m. It's going to end, I don't know, 3:30-ish, something like that. So I hope you got one. It has a can of mixed nuts on the front of it, right? Just to remind us, right? If you relate to that picture, well, I'm not going to say anything about you, okay? I'm not going to say anything about you, but if you relate to the picture, then I will see you at the gathering, okay? Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Now, I am assuming that you have figured this out already, and I know I'm probably right, but today is Friday the 13th, right? Yeah, of course, yeah. Now, I do not know if you are superstitious or not, but it doesn't matter, because what Friday the 13th is really known for, after all, is Friday the 13th movie, Jason, right? Right? It is the deranged guy in the mask. That's what it's known for. Now, I don't know how you feel about horror movies. But some people love them. Some people hate them. Anyone here love horror movie and horror stuff? Raise your hand. Okay, you know, like I just take back everything I just said about getting each other. I don't get you. I do not get you. Because I hate scary things. I hate scary movies. I don't like Halloween because it's too scary. I don't like the Halloween movies. I certainly didn't like Freddy Krueger. I don't like Jason. I don't like any of their ilk. I don't like any of it. I mean, what could possibly be worse? I'm just going to, I've got the mic. What could possibly be worse than a bunch of kids at a nice, friendly camp being stalked and killed systematically by a machete-wielding fiend? What is fun about watching this? Why are you having fun? I am scared to death. I go to the movies, right? Somebody will drag me to a movie like this. I'm like this the whole time. Don't tell me, what's happening? No, don't really tell me, I don't want to know. Tell me when it's over. And by the way, why do the people always go to the basement? Why? I mean, don't they know that they should not go in the basement? Can't they just tell by the scary music in the background that they shouldn't go in the basement? It makes no sense. Basement is a bad idea. I just hate horror movies. I hate them. Now, on the other hand, my husband Christopher and my daughter Amy, they love horror stuff. They just love it. In the years before Amy headed off to college, each year around the end of October, right about, this time of year, Chris and Amy would head off to Orlando area to go to either Halloween horror nights at Universal Studios or the haunted thing at Disney or whatever the thing at Busch Gardens is called. What is that thing? Howl-O-Scream. Doesn't this tell you something? Okay. Now me, I just want to stay home. I don't want to go to these things. I would just say, bye, have fun, enjoy yourself. And they didn't even bother to ask me if they wanted me to come or not. I mean, because they just knew that I wouldn't come. Because, there is just something, I don't know what it is, but there's just something that I hate about zombies jumping out at me to eat my face off, bloody monsters chasing me, and deranged maniacs threatening me with chainsaws. I don't know, call me wacky, it's just a thing with me, okay? I think that this is a reasonable thing to hate. I think this is a reasonable thing to hate, and I certainly can't see paying money so that I can be frightened out of my wits. Here's $100, yes, 100 of my dollars, now scare me. Now what is funny, I'll tell you what is funny, is while Chris and Amy are there, and I'm not even there, they spend all night long saying over and over again to whatever bloody horror they happen to encounter, oh, Mom would just hate this. Oh, this would be so bad for Mom. So I guess in some crazy, bizarre way, I am actually there with them in spirit, which is nice. In fact, I found this little this little video clip that describes exactly why I stay home, how I really feel about these sorts of horror things. It's perfect, describes me exactly. Watch this.
Show, and it'll be fun. I'll be dressed up. The audience will be dressed up. If you're watching at home, you should get dressed up, or at least put some pants on to watch it. And Halloween is one of my favorite times of year because I like scary movies and I like scaring people. And there's someone on my staff that I would like to introduce you to. Amy is one of my writers. Amy, come on out. We'll explain what's happening. Amy. Amy.
Hi.
So Amy is one of our writers, but she also works as a reporter for us. We actually dress her like this occasionally to look like a reporter, and we sent her to my house to interview my housekeeper, Mindy, when we found fungus on... Remember when my housekeeper had to tell us what was going on when she found the fungus? And so I had a very important Halloween assignment for Amy, and we sent you over to the Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood. And how did you feel about that?
I didn't like it.
No?
No.
Let's take a look.
I can't do this. I don't think I can do it. I don't want to go. Oh, no. This is too scary. Okay. No. I can't do it. No. Oh, no. Okay. No. I don't like this. I can't see anything. No. Don't touch me. No. Go. Oh, rude. No. Wait. Please don't make me go. Somebody's coming. Don't do it anymore, please. Don't. Please, I know you're getting paid. Please. No.
Oh my God, Amy. You were scared of the guy just working there. You almost blew a gasket. That was crazy. All right, I'm sorry you had to go, but for helping us out, I got you a little something. We'll be right back.
Absolutely. So, happy Friday the 13th, everyone. I hope it's been a good one for you. Now, here's my theory about why I hate all things horror. Okay, I have a theory. I think it's because before my days of recovery, I lived a horror movie. I lived a horror movie. Every night I went to sleep with fear and trembling. Every morning I woke up with remorse and dread. When there was a knock at the door, I knew it was not good. Something terrible was lurking behind the door, whether it was a bill collector or an angry family member or a friend or a drug dealer. Behind every corner, I was stalked by the chaos of my life. My life was unmanageable. It was a real-life horror movie. I've lived it. And friends, I never want to go back to that movie theater again. Now that I have escaped camp addiction, now that I have actually escaped camp pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization, I don't want to go back there again. Can I hear a yeah if you feel the same way, right? So for the past few weeks to celebrate recovery, we've been finishing up step 9, where we make amends to people that we've harmed. We offer forgiveness for harms done to us. That's step 9. And over the past few months, we've heard about, and hopefully with our sponsors, get a sponsor. Get a sponsor. Get a sponsor. This is a subliminal message from the recovery leader. Get a sponsor. So with our sponsors, we have hopefully actually worked through steps 9, right? Steps 1, 2, 3, relationship with God restored, right? Check. Steps 4, 5, 6, 7, got to know myself better so I don't fool myself anymore, right? Check. Steps 8 and 9, repaired my relationships with others, check. And we're done. We're new creations through Jesus. I mean, read the Bible verse with me. It's on the screen. Let's read it together. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old is gone. The new has come. Hallelujah. Let's give God a hand for that, right? And us for having worked the steps. You see, steps 1 through 9 clean up that wreckage of our past. And when we work those steps 1 through 9, the horror movie called My Life gets to say the end with a happy ending. I survived. All things worked out. I made it out, right? And I'm so grateful for that because I just, in case I haven't told you this, I hate horror movies. So at step 9, we've completed our recovery cleanup. The past is over. We closed the book. We're done. And what we've gained from all this is our humanity back. We've become human. New creation for recovery people means we've been restored to sanity and to who God originally designed us to be. Now, can you say yeah about that? Yeah. Up to this point, steps 1 through 9, the recovery process has been kind of a straight line. Really. We get a sponsor. Get a sponsor. Get a sponsor. Subliminal message continues. Get a sponsor. We get a sponsor, and we go to a lot of recovery meetings, and I'm talking about Celebrate Recovery and all the traditional meetings too, all our other recovery meetings, and we work the steps in order with our sponsor, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can help me, 7, 8, 9, very good. And by this time, our life has really changed 180 degrees, complete turnaround. We ought to be able to see clearly how God has healed us so much, and that is so, so, so good. Our horror movie has finally come to an end. Praise the Lord. So, the question is, now that we're here, now what? Now what? That's the question. Now what? What now? Once we've worked these 9 steps, we get to come to a time of decision about what we're going to do next. We've already been made new. It feels great, by the way. It feels great. I have escaped the horror movie called my life. But the question is that going to be enough? Is it enough that I have cleaned up my past and I'm now a new creation today? Or do I want to see what happens in the sequel? Do I want to see what happens tomorrow? Am I ready to persevere in my recovery program one day at a time, forever? See, when I worked steps 1, 2, and 3, it felt pretty good to get my relationship with God going. God could do for me what I could not do for myself. What's not to like? He could keep me away from my addictions and afflictions, and he still does. So now, I've worked 1, 2, and 3. Do I want to persevere to get to a deeper relationship with this God who loves me so much? Then when I worked steps 4, 5, 6, and 7, it felt pretty good to know myself better, to understand my weaknesses and what things inside of me have caused me misery and what makes me tick, right? So now, do I want to be more self-aware every single day? Do I want to persevere in practicing living day to day with more insight into myself? And then when I worked steps 8 and 9, I felt pretty good to make amends and offer forgiveness and to know my relationships have gotten clean, to be able to go about with my head up, not afraid anymore to encounter anyone or anything. But so now, do I want to persevere in keeping those relationships clean, not messing them all up again? See, that's the question. Do I want to persevere now? So what does perseverance mean in our case? For recovery people, if I'm in recovery, what does perseverance mean for me? Well, get out your message notes, grab a pen from the back of the seat, and fill in some blanks. Open up the thing, and we got a few blanks here. Number 1, perseverance means we're never done with recovery. Perseverance means we are never done with recovery. You can write, I am never done with recovery. I'm never done. Because there is this subtle danger that lurks after we're done with step 9. I've seen it. Sometimes we can get to this point after working the first 9 steps. It's easy to think that we've sort of gone as far as there is to go in our journey of recovery. And I've even heard people say that because they've worked the steps, they are more spiritually, emotionally advanced than the ordinary run of people, that working the steps has really advanced us to spiritual, awareness. And that's really funny, at least to me, because I was so far below the ordinary run of people with how I lived my life before recovery that all the first 9 steps did was elevate me to be even with how I was supposed to be to begin with. It didn't elevate me one bit above the general rabble, okay? It just made me even. I mean, think about it. Back in the day, each of our stories involved absolutely horror movie things. Rolling around on the floor drunk, anybody done it? Laying in dumpsters high as a kite, anyone done it? Chasing our spouses in high-speed car chases, sometimes involving knives or other weapons, screaming like maniacs at our kids. Oh, been there, done that, hiding in bathrooms, doing drugs, or eating mass amounts of candy we hid in the ceiling tiles. I know some of you have done it. Searching for hookers on the street, taking aliases online to engage in porn, gambling away our paychecks, right? This is not regular behavior, by far. It's worse than Freddy Krueger. It's worse than Jason. And unfortunately, I've engaged in most of this myself. That's why I could write it down. And now we don't do these things anymore. That's great. And suddenly we think we're spiritual giants, right? Well, no. We're really just even. We're not above. We're just even because we were never supposed to roll around drunk or high, try to kill our spouses, browbeat children, hide candy, take aliases, or gamble ourselves into the poorhouse. We were never supposed to do that. The first 9 steps restore us to simple humanity. We're human. So now is the time to persevere, to move on to actually growing in our recovery and in God's grace. We've handled the past. Now it's time for the future to unfold. So write this down. Perseverance means each day we start our recovery anew. You can write, each day I start my recovery anew. Each one day of a time of our recovery lasts one day at a time. Every day lasts one day. Each day is a new beginning. There's a story that Jesus told once about how demons work. He told a story about how demons work, and it's good to know what Jesus says about horror stories and demons. I want to know what Jesus says about this, because in case I didn't tell you before, I hate horror stories, and I want to know what Jesus has to say about it. Jesus told a story about a person who managed to rid himself of a demon. Luke 11:24-26 tells the story. It's on the screen. Why don't you read it with me? When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and takes 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. See, here's the thing I know about my demons called chemical addiction and codependency. Jesus has removed them from me. But I'll never call myself recovered. I'll only refer to myself as recovering one day at a time, because I don't want those demons to come back with their friends and write a sequel to the horror story of my life that is worse than the first one. The first one was truly bad enough, friends. So write this down. Perseverance means working the rest of the steps every day. Perseverance means I work the rest of the steps every day. See, this guy who had the demon in him, he thought it was enough to just get rid of the past. He thought he was good. And he never filled himself up with anything. He just thought the emptying out was enough. And he was all clean, and that was great, but he never did another thing. And that old demon of his found the door wide open and lots of room for him and his other demon buddies to move right back in. I'm sure the demons enjoyed the heck out of that, partying away in that nice clean house at the expense of that guy. So, are we ready to persevere is the question. Am I ready to persevere? Are you ready to persevere? Because perseverance means going on to the 10th, 11th, and 12th steps, which, if you do that, spoiler alert, they are a summary of steps 1 through 9 to work every single day. With your sponsor. Remember, you need a sponsor, okay? Write this down. Perseverance means making recovery a way of life. Making recovery a way of life. Here's how the program of Overeaters Anonymous puts it from their 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. It says, in step 10, we discovered the value of perseverance in working the 12 steps. Practicing this principle in all our affairs today means that we continue to do the things which have brought us healing, even though we sometimes wonder if we still need to. Perseverance brings us the reward of continuing permanent recovery. Now, next week, you're going to hear a testimony from Brandy F., and then the week after that, you're going to hear a message about Step 10 from Pastor Sherry Lacey, my good friend, my colleague, and my sponsor, too, by the way. And I pray that through all these good messages, that you're ready to make your recovery a way of life rather than just a program that gets worked through one time or 2 times and then forgotten. Because that's the way to make the sequel of our horror story life a good sequel. Now, here's what perseverance looks like for me in real time. So Chris and I have been having some, you could call it intense fellowship. That's Christianese for fighting, okay? Christian people call it intense fellowship. And we've been fighting over money. Anybody ever fight over money? We've been fighting over money, how we spend money, who spends the money, what we spend the money on. Now, I don't like to fight with Chris because I'm pretty sure I'm just right all the time. It would be so much more convenient. It would be so much easier if he would just see that and we could just like get along. Because I think our fighting is all his fault, right? And he thinks it's all, guess what? Mine. I don't know if any of you folks can relate to this. Can you say yeah? Yeah. Yeah. See, I have cleaned up the wreckage of my past relationships. I have. They're great. But this is a new issue. This is a new situation. Even with over 30 years of recovery, it doesn't matter. My first reactions to arguments tend to be selfish. I want to get my way. I want to make him out to be the bad guy if he doesn't agree, right? I want to gossip with somebody. Come on. Let me tell you what happened, right? Let me tell you exactly what happened. I want to get people on my side. There was a time when I would just divorce the guy and get on with drinking and drugging to forget, right? But here's what perseverance and recovery does for me. It reminds me to examine myself. It reminds me to be open-minded, to forgive, to make amends, and to seek God and to help others. Now, this may sound like I have it all wrapped up in a little bow, and friends, I'm telling you that's not true. Chris and I haven't solved this money situation yet. But what perseverance gives me is a future of recovery, knowing that one day at a time we will work through it. I won't have to divorce him. I won't have to drink over it. I won't have to take a drug over it. I won't have to slander his name about it. Without making recovery a way of life, this simply would not happen. The demon would go away and bring back 7 back with him, and they would have a grand old time, I'm telling you. So here's last but not least, and I'm going to go one last yard in this message with this last fill-in. Write this down. Perseverance means doing whatever it takes to progress in my recovery. Means doing whatever it takes to progress in my recovery. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again tonight. I'm going to encourage you all again that there are a lot of different kinds of recovery programs out there that are part of that ongoing recovery story for you. There are traditional recovery programs. There's all kinds of different things. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Lee County alone who are attending hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of anonymous recovery programs every week to band together against the demons that each of us face in our future. Me, I need all the help I can get. Because in case I haven't made this perfectly clear already tonight, I simply hate horror stories. I attend AA, I attend CA regularly to persevere, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, to persevere and do every last thing I can to make this recovery that I have a way of life, because I don't want another horror story. All I have is a daily reprieve, contingent on my ability to access God and work this program of recovery well. So tonight I just ask you to think hard and consider joining me in the recovery available outside these walls in order to persevere and grow in your recovery. It may solve your problem of not being able to find a sponsor. I've heard that a lot around here. I can't find a sponsor. Well, this may help you solve that problem. Now, if you need help in deciding the best way to branch out, just chat with your group leader when you're in your small group, or chat with me. We'll figure it out together. But I encourage you to do this. So one last thing. Say this with me. It's on the screen. Today's recovery won't keep me recovered tomorrow. Let's say it again. Today's recovery won't keep me recovered tomorrow. We have recovery today. And for that, we should thank God, and let's do it. It's awesome. Yeah. We should be proud of ourselves for where we've gotten. But tomorrow is not guaranteed unless we keep working it. So tonight, I'm going to invite the band up right now. Tonight, I want to let you know that this altar is open and ready for you to spend some time and make the decision to commit and persevere in your program of recovery. This altar is a perfect place to spend time with Jesus and commit to doing that. It's a perfect place to say goodbye to the horror story that is your past, and also say goodbye to the horror story that could be your future if you quit too soon, and to say hello to the beautiful future that God has in store for you if you persevere in this program one day at a time forever. Surrender your will here. Finally, surrender your control of the rest of your life, because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the one who's created you. And we're only giving him back what he only owned to begin with. And so I invite you to the altar and surrender your own will for your future. Once and for all, decide today that recovery will be your way of life. And the altar is open now to do that right now.